Hi folks, Mark Merrill with the firm's special journal. As you can see here, Janet Mills just can't keep her big mouth shut. She goes ahead and goes on MSNBC now with Morning Joe Scarface Scarborough and goes ahead and slams Trump on the fact that he's not above the law when it comes to Title IX. Really, Janet? Gee, we have to read this to you again, Janet. You better be paying attention, because we got a lot of other things here, even though it seems that the Maine Wire has picked up on some information from April 10th. The Office of Civil Rights. Remember this one, folks? This goes back a couple of episodes here on Firm. Pursuant to the authority delegated by the Secretary of the United States Department of Health and Human Services to the Office for Civil Rights, OCR, I write to inform you, says the officer of that DHHS office and the Office of Civil Rights, a notice of violation against Maine Department of Education. It is transaction number DO256105331-RV-CRR. Basically, the Maine Principals Association, governing body for youth sports in the state of Maine and open to elementary, middle, junior high, and high school principals, assistant principals, tech-centered directors, assistant directors, and other administrators who function primarily as building participants or assistant principals. All public schools and a number of private schools in Maine are MPA members. But in 2024, the MPA approved a policy allowing transgender athletes to compete on teams either according to their birth assigned gender or gender identity. It's either or. Title IX is only federal law, MPA morons. Mike Burnham, Mr. Executive Director of the MPA, the executive order, he says, addressing President Trump, that his order number 14201 and our Maine State Human Rights Act are in conflict, and the Maine Principals Association will continue to follow the state law as it pertains to gender identity. Therefore, guess what? You get no federal funds! Oh, plain and simple. Can you friggin' make it? For goodness sakes, folks. I don't care what the headline says in the morning Sorry Sentinel. There's the signature right there, back on February 25th. Young girls, teenage girls, and even some women, if you may notice, can't wait to compete again without laws being slammed at them at blue states, not only like Maine, but Michigan, Massachusetts, and Colorado, saying, oh no, we're going to allow transgenders because they have money to go ahead and throw to the federal courts that have biased judges and will slam Donald Trump right into the ground. Oh, is that right? Yeah, well, guess what? Tens of millions of dollars just got sucked away from Planned Parenthood, and I can't wait to see them go down and burn. And neither should you, ladies and gentlemen, everybody biologically speaking out there. We've covered tons of stories, as you can see, in our new setup here at Firm. None of them are pleasant ones. But right now, we're right about at Donald Trump's 100 days. Here's the latest couple of things we want to mention, folks, especially the one from the Maine Wire. But first, this one right here. As we seek truth, facts, and reality and common sense in America. What you see before you, and I know you won't be able to read it, folks, but here it is from the Maine Wire, headline, April 10th. A story on WVOM Radio, FM, back on January 23rd, 2025. Yeah, January. We're talking about 3 months ago, folks. that the Maine State Office for Children's Services had an office female representative working there on that date, January 23rd. A female representative personally denied federal executive order by Donald Trump that you just saw and I just read here to be delivered to the Department of Administrative and Financial System within the state of Maine agency that was written and mailed electronically by President Donald Trump on transgender men banned in women's locker rooms and sports activities. But the female representative withheld the federal executive order to be delivered to DAFs by her own actions. So lawmakers in Maine would never see the federal mandate on Trump's desk. Oh, you want to go a little bit further on that? I think we got a big, giant lawsuit here, folks. And some little peon female representative of the state OCS office is in real big, deep trouble with the federal government. You can go to MaineWire.com, ladies and gentlemen, for specific details on that story. You heard it here on Firm. And lastly, on this asinine and unfortunate state of events, here's the headline. Once again, Maine Wire on top of everything. Federal judge has ruled in favor of Aaron Frey and orders the Trump administration to end a freeze on education funding. But here's the details, folks, and it's very important. USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture, must resume federal education funding for Maine according to a Friday ruling from George W. Bush-appointed U.S. District Court Judge John Woodcock, granting a request from Maine Attorney General Aaron Frey. But that's not what the whole detail is here, folks. Aaron Frey sued the USDA over freeze on federal funding following Maine's refusal to ban males from girls' sports. Quote from him: the temporary restraining order confirms the Trump administration did not follow the rule of law when it cut program funds that go to feed school children and vulnerable adults. Whoa, good move, Frey. It's not about food. He says his order preserves Maine's access to certain congressionally appropriated funds by prohibiting unlawful freeze by the administration. No one in our constitutional republic is above the law, and we will continue to fight to hold this administration to account. He filed the complaint against the USDA April 7th, demanding a temporary restraining order, temporary, against the U.S. Department of Agriculture's decision to halt some federal education funds while the broader case is adjudicated. So, you know what it really means. That's what that means. Okay? That's what it really means, folks. You know why? Here's the reason. The Maine Department of Education has already lost some millions of dollars of its USDA funding at the start of the month of April, when the agency's investigation determined that Maine was in violation of Title IX federal anti-discrimination law due to its continued refusal to comply with President Trump's executive order demanding that males not be allowed to compete in girls' sports. According to the USDA, the freeze specifically targeted administrative and technological funds, not funds to feed school children and vulnerable adults. Not even close to touching those funds. Frey. Frey's lawsuit argued that the funding cuts did impact those programs despite the department's claim. What a jackass. Judge Woodcock, a senior judge at the Maine District Court, granted Frey's request for a temporary restraining order against the U.S. Department of Agriculture, requiring the department to resume all federal funding that had been frozen, though the order is temporary. It does not include an expiration date. It specifies it'll remain in effect until further court order. But the point is, folks, it's trash. It's garbage. It doesn't mean it's not legal of the paper that it's written on. It means nothing. In the meantime, folks, Mark Merrill here with Firm, Fairness in Reporting Media. And as always, you can get in touch with us anytime. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day at fairnessandreportingmedia@gmail.com, fairnessandreportingmedia@gmail.com. You see at the bottom here. And also our podcasts, rumble.com/fairnessmedia1, rumble.com/fairnessmedia1. Meantime, stay safe. Pray mightily, everyone. The battle has just begun, as the enemy is not only within, they're knocking at our doors. They need to be stopped. Janet Mills, Aaron Frey, and all the cronies who say they're protecting the rights, the special rights of transgenders and the LGBTQ that keep saying we're being discriminated against instead of the real rule of law, which is Title IX from 1972. Take care, everyone. Stay tuned.